Kia ora and welcome back to the ACC's Netball Podcast Court Session, brought to you by the Export Beer Garden. My name is Sammy Winders. With me once again, I have Erena Mikaere, and boy, oh boy, do we have some problems of the world to solve today, Erena.
Problems, yes, Sammy. Problems, but also like how amazing was South Africa? And Sammy, like the avid fans of New Zealand and the Silver Ferns, I was up at 4 a.m. That was me, nah. It was like
Good
quarter past
you.
4. Quarter past 4. What about you, Sammy?
Well, that's not bad. I definitely did not get up then. Apologies, Silver Ferns. They obviously needed my cheering and my supporting from my couch and my dressing gown. But New Zealand fans and fans around the world, if you missed the news this morning, New Zealand suffered or experienced, I'm not sure, a draw to South Africa at the World Cup. So the score ended up being 48 all, and now we've got some juiciness to have a chat about.
We do, but like on that juiciness, Sammy, did you hear the post-match chat from Noeline?
I sure did. And you know what? No better way to start this than ask the coach how she felt.
Your team cracked under the pressure a little bit at the end there?
Hey, calm down, mate. Hey, a draw, it's a draw, eh? Let's put this out there, it's a draw. I hate the word crack because I think that's disrespectful to people, and if you want to put that out in the lines, I don't really like that word.
And what do you take from that,
Wow, she doesn't like the word crack, Sammy.
That's what I thought too. She's in more ways than one, I hope, because she's a professional netball coach. So don't you ever bring up crack around Noeline Taurua. Noeline Taurua, I should say.
Don't bring any crack around Noels. Dame Noels, yes, but I was watching that. So I obviously watched the game and then I watched that show and I was like, oh, whoever you are, watch out. That's Auntie Noels, who's about to pick her gender up and throw it straight at your face for asking a stupid question like that.
Yeah. And I think everybody's got this perception of Noels that she's cool, calm, collected all of the time. And that, she's just a really nice Auntie Noels. But those people have not seen high performance Noels. And that is a different story.
I reckon that's the don't mess with me Noels. Like that's the moment. But she also had the girls' backs, which I liked because I think it gave Meals a bit of sense of like, oh yes, that's our coach. Yeah. Get him.
Totally. And now there's clearly this massive like they gotta back themselves here. And what better person to back them obviously than their coach. But going forward, they have a pretty tough road ahead of them to actually maybe tough. They're still, I personally think it's absolutely totally doable, no worries at all. I'm not going to probably, if it's a 4 a.m., I back them that they can do it without me cheering from the couch in the morning. But so going forward to actually make the semi-finals, beating Jamaica, and they play tonight at 9 p.m, so that's doable actually. Beating Jamaica will definitely secure them a spot in those semi-finals, and they'll actually top their pool. But a loss to Jamaica and a South African win against Uganda might not be enough. Talk us through that.
I read somewhere that it might be like 50 points because it goes back on point count back, which I have faith in the girls and I feel like it's doable. But there has been times where something like this has happened. So it would take like South Africa to win by 20. Don't worry, I was trying to spit that word out. And then it would take Jamaica to win by 30. And that's happened before, Sammy?
Well, we beat Uganda quite considerably, so I wouldn't put it past Uganda. And South Africa are the same. They're like, we actually need to smoke Uganda. And imagine African countries come together and they just, I don't know, what if Uganda just like roll over and play with 5 players? I don't know. Imagine if that happened. That would guarantee South Africa through. But anyway.
Have you lost to Jamaica before?
Yeah, we have. At the Com Games last year, we suffered quite a big loss. I think it was about 19 goals.
It's that year where it's like, oh, don't talk about it, right? Is that year? Oh, so there is history. 19 goals.
Yeah, there is. So there's there's a bit to unpack there, but I think a lot of the, like, people getting a bit freaked out because they're like, whoa, oh my gosh, this is the first time the Silver Ferns have been tested in this World Cup, and it just goes to show kind of situation, which is pretty true, but that is just the way that these World Cups are set up. So you play 3 or 4 early games and you just roll over your opposition, and then you get to the hard games and suddenly you have to step up and play hard. And I think that's a risk. We talked about it way back in episode 1. The Silver Ferns didn't play any international test matches before the World Cup this year.
They also didn't have, they had the Trinity Jamison Cup, and they didn't have the Jamaican team that they were, well, I guess they thought they were going to have. They had things like that, which kind of didn't prepare us well for going into World. So
yeah, well, that was last year. So all these players have just played ANZ, then nothing, and then World Cup. So it's a bit crazy, really. And what I found interesting too was that the commentators, or somebody commented about the fact that, because if you watch the game, you would have seen a high number of changes and stuff, and people on social media just up in arms about that, those couch coaches who just know more than anybody. But somebody commented, I'm not saying I read the Instagram comments, but somebody else commented about the fact that the World Cup, like a big game like this, isn't actually where you need or where you should be giving players experience. Like that should have been done already. And now it's just like, we know what you can do. You're not out there to get experience. You're just out there to do your job. So yeah, there's a bit of serious netball chat going on right here.
There is serious netball chat. But if you dive into those online trollsy, toxic type of messages, man, there was heaps. There were some good things. I really enjoyed some of the good comments. And I think everything needs some like little spice in there. Like, yeah, there's always some like she sucked kind of things, or, like there's always something little. But man, today I woke up and I was nearly about to delete my socials or not go on it at all, because some people were better coaches than Dame Noels tonight. That made me think about the combos, because most of it was moaning about the combos that she played and things like that. But some of the, I guess the shit they don't know is what's happening inside. So say, for example, I'm going to use Meals as an example. She probably has a niggle, and sometimes that happens because it happened through ANZ, and it's just like she just needs to be managed or loaded in certain games. Otherwise, come Jamaica game, she probably would only be allowed 1 quarter if she had played 3 or 4 in the South African game, which is hard because it's like, hey, y'all don't even know. But, you're like you say, what are the platforms for if they're not, not there to give your own point and be your own media?
If we think back to, so South Africa actually have beaten New Zealand once in 1995. The only people who got something to say about that were the old ladies who had gas bags at church the next morning and the journalists who write the articles. So now people are just like, heck yes, this is my opportunity to shine, and they got all the comments. So, I mean, I love that people are passionate about the Ferns, and that's
hard.
That's all
hard
I can
out.
say about that.
Yeah, get to it. Post what you want, but I might delete it and not watch for it.
I mean, if you're going to get offended, don't read it.
Exactly. But man, what a way to wake up, man. I was like, I had goosebumps. I was sweating. I was like, oh, I'm all in bed, and all I did was get up early enough so my boyfriend could make me breakfast. But hey, the defense was amazing. It was like ANZ combo versus Aussie combos.
There was a few instances as well where you could tell the players just had no idea what was happening, what the umpire was calling, because that crowd, that was the first game I've watched where the crowd is packed out, like there were no empty seats. And actually there was probably a few empty seats because most of the people that were sitting in them were actually on the floor dancing right next to the court. Like,
right.
I just love it so much.
I think some of them were just there for a party. Like, yeah. I was like, that's a bit of my vibe. I thought at one point they were just cheering and booing some wrong things because they were too busy facing the other way, recording themselves in the crowd. Looked hilarious, but they
were so good. There was some real characters out there, wasn't there? There was this man, and the camera loved him.
I know.
He had his white towel on his head because he was clearly sweating up a storm. He had white gloves, and he just had this most beautiful smile.
Oh, I know.
He was just so happy. Never sat down once during the game, and I was like, he was killing it.
He was like Michael Jackson. He was, if there was a play of the match, he got it for me.
Hell yes. He got those South Africans to that draw.
You know what was the other battle on court that wasn't actually happening on court? Well, sideline of the court was the N versus N. Auntie Noels versus Auntie Norma. I mean, I would rather have Auntie Noels as my auntie over Auntie Norma. Maybe a rollout in the UFC ring or something, the two of them. But
I would say Auntie Norma is the type of auntie who would sneak $50 into your hand as you're leaving her house, though. She's like that cool auntie.
She looks like it. Was shop the look Auntie Norma anyway.
Yeah, and she's the auntie you'd go to her bedroom and try on all her lipsticks and just end up with it all over your face. I mean, who doesn't have a picture like that at their auntie or their nana's house? I know, I do.
I feel like she'd smack you over though if you took the wrong earrings. You know, those are her lucky earrings or her nice earrings. I feel like Auntie Noels. Well, I've lived with her and she was way nicer. You couldn't do no wrong. I used to saw her.
All right, Auntie Noels.
I pick Auntie Noels. She wins. But Norma said something in the halftime interview, didn't she? Well, it made me think like she was just doing whatever Noels did. Say Noels made a change. She was like, I'll leave it for 2 minutes and I'll make a change.
Well, she said that. So they do the whole mic'd up situation where they put the big headphones on the coaches on the sideline and they're just like, so Norma. And I so rate it because the other coaches are just like, yeah, we're just looking to get some depth and just looking to hold the ball, whatever. Norma's like, yeah, I really think we're keeping New Zealand pretty honest here. And then goes on to say, if Noels can make changes, so can we. And you're right. Like, I think Noels made a change in the goal attack. I think it was when Meals came off. Next thing you know, Norma's making a change. It's like, she's like, anything you can do, I can do as well. Maybe not better, but as well.
I know. That's the whole goalkeep thing, right? And she even changed colour Pretorius, which I was like, what? Anyway.
Yeah. It worked out for them. It worked out.
It did. But overall, great game. I am so excited for this next game. Yeah. I will need a daytime nap though before. I'm sure like everyone else who probably got up at 4 a.m.
Yeah, or just and then have to get up. Stay up till 9 p.m. That's like getting close to my bedtime.
In other news on the World Cup goss, I saw some questions. People were asking, Sammy, there's hunchbacks that some of the girls have. And they're like, what is going on? The same hunchback of Notre Dame and who are you? What is going on? What are the hunchbacks? They
got their wee little pack on their back, and those are just the wee GPS monitors, and they just monitor how far you run and how high you jump and how many times you jump. And I think most sports have them now. And I saw I was watching the football last night because, go the female sports. They had a stat at halftime of the two football teams that had GPS. It was a GPS stat, which is the first time I've ever seen it like live. And one team had run 51 kilometres and the other team had run 53 kilometres.
That's next level.
Hard. The best score I've ever got is in like a 2-hour training and I ran 10 kilometres or something really ridiculous. I don't know how efficient that was and how much work I did. But anyway, it's good to get a good high number, I guess. But yeah, I think the idea of having those GPS monitors is to know like what areas you can target or what areas you're mostly doing, or if you favour a side or something like that. It gets a bit scientific, and it's just a good opportunity to hire someone new to interpret the data.
More jobs, why not?
Yeah, we're creating jobs in the high performance levels. Great. Speaking of, there's quite a few people sitting behind the bench, and there's a couple that I don't really recognise, and I'm just like, that's so beautiful, New Zealand giving opportunities to people.
What are they? Who is it?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I haven't done any research into it either, so I'm going to have to find out who these people are with their jobs.
No, because I saw the doctor. I saw the sports psych. You see the 3 reserves, one being now Grace, obviously, Sylvain Miller. Are you talking about in that lineup? There's
Stephen Hodder, who's a high performance director for Netball New Zealand, and then there's just someone else. And I'm like, maybe the Silver Ferns have a travelling masseuse.
It's probably one of those things from TikToks, and you put on a tradies uniform, you sneak through the door, and then you change your uniform. That's apparently what's happened, I reckon. That's my take on it. In other news on World Cup goss, right? So I don't know if, I'm sorry, Australians, but I don't know if you're dumb or not, but they bought packages that were VIP packages to the World Cup, right, in netball, and they were like between anywhere over $1.5 to $3,000 for premium packages. So they're VIP tickets. I think flights, accommodation, and diamonds tickets to the all the games, and they must be VIP tickets. But they've been stuffed up, and some of them have been losing their tickets. Yeah, so they're missing some of the games, and
they can't even get in to watch the games, and some of the games are like empty, so I don't get it. And from what I hear, the ticket prices have been quite exorbitant.
What is that word?
I think that's a word. If it's
is it heaps of money? Speaking of what is that word? It's a post-match after the game. Cuttenberger said it's a bit guttering. Is she putting gutters on the house? What is gutter? Is guttering a word?
Guttering.
It's a bit guttering.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
No. All about expanding our use of words around here.
Just quickly, touching on the Malawi Queens in Australia. Malawi Queens got up after all that drama and played for half a game, stayed with the Australians, then got smoked.
Yeah, that was a bit of a shame. I was like so pumped for it. You were pumped. Everyone was pumped. Go Malawi, beat their bloody Aussies. But
I felt like that drama brought them closer together. So I feel like they should make more drama and make another team video and come at their coach.
Nothing quite brings people together like a bit of unified drama, like
DMs.
They often say it's really important to like suffer physically together, so that I don't know, that's the reason that coaches give us to like do really hard out sessions, because it's like when you suffer together you get closer. But just chuck in a bit of drama. Nothing brings girls together than drama. Better if the drama's against another team, because then you're united on a similar front,
Nothing brings girls together like hate towards another person. Like I'm thinking of two girls who are exes of someone. They like each other now because they don't like their ex-boyfriend or something like that, or the new girlfriend.
And now they're like best friends. Isn't that just so good?
I love that. All right, Sammy, should we do a recap on some bingo? Because there was a couple of things. We got tagged in a couple of things that were taken off our bingo.
Yes. We've covered off a few already. And if you can't remember what they are, maybe re-listen to another episode, because there's a few on here. But, okay, so we've covered 1, 2, 3. Number 4, which is a toss-up, because the umpire's like unsure what to call. And we talked about this the other day. I'm all for it, because just because an umpire doesn't know, it doesn't mean they're a bad umpire. It just means they're human. So bring back the toss-up. Do as many as you can. We saw a toss-up. So that was just mean. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 ticked off, 6 ticked off. Number 7.
The commentator saying take a bow. They said that. I don't know who the commentator was, but she said, Jane Watson, take a bow.
Yeah, it was take a bow this time, not Taco Bell. So, but I even rewound it just to make sure. But yeah, it happened in this game just now. So well done, commentator.
Yeah, and you know what else the commentator said? And that was just do you know what game it was? Was it versus Tonga?
Oh, yes. Speaking of commentators coming up with some absolute gold. Yeah, it was. It was Tonga versus Zimbabwe.
Oh, I love Zimbabwe. That sounds so cool. Wow. What did she say, Sammy? Because I actually had to send the clip to you and you translated it for me. Can you do the same for our listeners?
As Malawi, she's jumping, she's reminding me about my old times. She's fast, but she can jump and get the ball on the same time. Shoot.
Well, I don't know if you can say that, Mary, but look.
If you missed that, she said, she reminds me of myself, fat, but she can jump. Straight up. No word of a lie. She said that in 2023. Keeping it real.
You cannot say that. You cannot say that. Cool. I love the way that because she was playing so great, it reminded her of herself.
I know.
Yeah, she reminds me of myself.
I am good. Do not comment on players' body types if you're commentating. Number 1 rule. Come on.
I also Googled different words for fat over. I could only come up with suggestions for UK, and it said like chubby, voluptuous, all this. So I was like, actually, she did have a couple of other words she could have used.
She reminds me of myself, voluptuous. Yeah, it sounds good.
Exactly. All right, back to bingo.
Lady. Player yelling, let's go with their hands in the air. Malawi did that, definitely. When we watched them versus Australia, they're very passionate like that. So that was cool. I think we can just take the vuvuzelas off the list
and have the crowd right, have the toothless man.
Or like what is the most creative instrument that the crowd has used? Because unlike the football, I haven't seen like drums or other instruments even being allowed into the stadium. I'm assuming because it's like a small space. So we'll take that one off. I saw a lady blowing into like her straw or something, and I thought maybe that was a creative little like whistle thing.
We'll take that.
Yeah, okay. And the first ever netball streaker, you had a comment about this.
Yes, I did. I was like, if there was ever to be a streaker, it was that game because South Africa were playing. It's their hometown.
Yeah.
But then I also did think to myself, what if by chance this 20, 30 goal thing happens and we don't make semifinals or whatever the go is, South Africa make it, then we might have an actual chance. But maybe it happens when the camera goes off and we go back to the commentators /
we
panel.
We don't see what's happening at halftime because we've got the halftime chat that's happening in New Zealand, which kudos to those girls because if they looked beautiful. And so
they did.
The game's at 4 a.m. I can just imagine that they're up at 3 a.m. getting their hair and makeup done. So
they were in there at 1.
Gals.
There was like 1 or 2 a.m. I think I saw one of the girls post up, and I actually messaged beautiful Claire Kirsten and said how well she was doing and said, oh, it kind of suits you because if you know Claire, she doesn't really get much sleep. I said, your job kind of suits you.
True
you would have been like, yeah. And she said, I had like 1 minute sleep. And she's also doing tonight's game. So she's going to have the game day. Yeah,
she's
game day.
going to need a nap today.
She's going to need that. And so are we, Sammy, because looking forward, like we've said, we've got Jamaica. What happens? Are we winning? Like, tell me something. Give me
some gossip. All right. What I'm predicting is going to happen is that. So Pumza Mawini was the goalkeeper in this game, and she was all over Maya Wilson. Maya Wilson did very well, nice and strong, but Pumza was like handsy, long arms, long legs, active as. And if we saw that today from South Africa, you just wait until you see this goal kick from Jamaica, Shamira Sterling. She is arms and legs on another level. So I am looking forward, as the commentators would say, to that matchup. I also am looking forward to seeing how we go against their big, tall goal shoot, Janelle Fowler. And, okay, so this is the thing when you've got a goal shoot, the coaches always ask, get the ball before it gets to the circle edge, right? So we're gonna need some like scrappy mid-court hustle, pressure, get whatever hand you can get to ball to get it off them before they can throw it to that goal shoot. And I tell you what, I'm gonna happily stay up and watch this game at 9 o'clock tonight because I think it'll be a real ripper.
Yeah, I reckon too, Sammy. The girls got to go home, put their feet in some ice, toes in some ice, whatever they do, put their legs in some pumps, which my family says pump the tyres up because old girl needs to pump the tyres up. So those are the leg pumps, slip them on, pump the tyres up, girls. Make sure they got water on board. You're like a car, get it going.
Treat yourself, your body like this is what I tell the little kids when I'm coaching them. Imagine your absolute favorite car, and we go around the circle and the kids tell me what their favorite cars are, and some are like Lamborghinis. One kid once told me, a wee rainbow coloured combi van that has a bed in it. I was like, I love that. That's beautiful. Anyway, treat yourself like a car. Put everything, all the good stuff that you need to make a car go fast inside your body. So friends, if you're listening, take it from us. Treat yourselves today.
I wonder what makes Jamaicans tick. Like, could we make some chicken? Or I know my sister-in-law's like part Jamaican, so maybe I could get her some tips. Quickly send it to the girls and have it on the sideline. So it kind of like maybe some tactics off court. Get some tactics going off court. Maybe yell something at their bench. Like I'm getting my chest pumped up. Like do something like that to them. All right, Sammy?
I am too. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good hustle. We're going to see some action. We're going to see some crowd craziness, I bet. But we will be watching and we will update you all back on the podcast tomorrow morning.
Get with it. That's court session. We out.